And time when it comes around to October, everybody gets so excited about Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and it's a lot of things to talk about. And I just want to kind of put a little context to it and put an awareness to it, because sometimes we get caught up in this pretty pink, and I want to remind persons that cancer is not always pink. Right? So this is one of the reasons why I have this presentation that I started to circulate every time it comes around. And of course, the advocacy, it happens between January right to December. So it's not just October that the advocacy begins. It actually starts, all year round. So the name of this presentation is called Looking Beyond Breast Cancer. And we want to talk about the pink. So it's called Let's Talk Pink, or in other terminology, we say cancer is not just pink. And of course, I'm Marcia Skervin. And hold on a second, we must hit record. Okay, let's go back to that. So we have to make sure we hit record so persons who are coming on can also be a part of that. Okay, great.
Recording in progress.
Wonderful. So we're going to have a discussion about looking beyond breast cancer. And as I said before, one of the things that I love to do is talk about what the pink represents, the October. I think, and I said it on a live just recently, I don't know if October represents the breast month and people are just so excited about breasts and titties that it just overrun every other month and every other representation of any other organ that is representation of that particular month, right? All the excitement happens in October. All the excitement and the colors, and people are just being made aware, and everybody all get excited. But the truth is, an excitement, should be in a continuum that people recognize that there is life outside of that pink explosion. And with that, I want to have this presentation called Looking Beyond Breast Cancer, Looking Beyond Pink, Let's Start Pink, and cancer is not just pink, right? And I always say cancer is actually green because it requires money, right? And the money, of course, is green. So it requires a lot more than what we are willing to talk about, right? And so that's why we want to have this fulsome discussion this evening. Of the presentation will be able to be shared, and you can share it with your group, share it to somebody who you think might be interested, share it right along. I'm Marcia Skervin. We're streaming live on Instagram, on YouTube, and we just did one on TikTok also, because again, it's an awareness that must happen. All right, so that's what we wanted to be talking about. Whoops. All right, now I have a quote from Tony Robbins that said, it is in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. It is in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. And so whatever decision that you find yourself making or to make, it is that what is called your destiny, your purpose, life's goal, your life mission is often shaped. And that's a different discussion, because when we look at it, we realize that there's no pain without purpose. And so even though we're talking about this whole pink discussion and that cancer is not pink and it requires other effort, we're going to be talking about it wholesomely, and for you to understand that there is more to the discussion than just talking about getting all pinked up and not recognizing that there's a dollar value to it. There's some emotions connected, there's some confidence issue connected, there's some family issues connected, quite a bit. And so this quote reminds us that it is in your moment of decision, whatever decision that you have to make, that your destiny is shaped. Now let's talk numbers, because a lot of time we talk pink, but we don't put any stats to this conversation. Breast cancer is the most common cancer among women worldwide. So let that sink in. It's not just a Jamaica thing, it's a worldwide thing. In Jamaica, the age standardized breast cancer mortality rate increased from 21 0.8% per 100,000 in 2010 to 28 per 100,000 in 2014. And let me tell you something, I searched the stats up to 2025 and could not find an updated version. So I dare say, if within that period of time from 2014, when this 21 start moved from 2010 to 2014, and you had the percentage moving from 21.8 to 28 per 100,000, you can just imagine if you put it in equation in the same breath and the same formula every 4 years and putting that multiplier, you would recognize what's happening. The ages are 35 to 44, 65 to 74, and 75 and over. Now, Jamaica has one of the highest incident rate in the Caribbean, with a rate of 43 per 100,000, and this is 2017. There's no stats to say that this has been decreasing, right? And so this is when I tell people, I talk about the pink month, I want to see stats that shows us that for every $1 million collected, a percentage, and what put numbers to this conversation. Because when we start putting numbers to the conversation, we get more practical and real to understand how this is affecting our women. How is it affecting men too? It's not a gender issue, because you do have men who have been diagnosed with breast cancer. And what it is saying here is 1 in 8 women. Let me tell you something. The excitement for pink in October, it leaves out the male portion of it. It's all centered around women having cancer, breast cancer, but it has no conversation for men who are also breast cancer victim as well. And this is why we have to have the discussion. 1 in 8 women, and we don't have the stats for the men, because nobody is having that conversation to take those stats. Is it 1 in 10 men? Is it 1 in 20? Is it 1 in 50 men who are having this? We do not know that conversation. But so far, we know that 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed. And you hear that futuristic will be diagnosed in their lifetime. So you look at every 8 women you pass, you're going to know that 1 in that particular skill set is, or 1 in that particular group is going to be somebody who is diagnosed, right? So the numbers, when you start dissecting the numbers start looking very alarming, because you're saying to yourself, oh my goodness, no, this is not, I'm not liking this very much, because these numbers start showing me something. All right. Now, in 2022, there was approximately 2.3 million new cases of breast cancer and 670,000 deaths worldwide. Breast cancer is the most common cancer in women and the second most common cancer overall globally. So now we can put a context to why the excitement around October. Because of course it's the most common, and globally it has an effect globally. All right? An average 1 in 20 women worldwide will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. So that's what it is saying. Now, the question I keep asking, which I say cancer is not just pink. We want to know, yes, it's a global phenomenon. Yes, it impacts 1 in 8, 1 in 20 globally. But we want to know, for the past 10 years, for the past 20 years, with all the donation, with all the advocacy, with everything that's happening, is awareness being improved? Is the numbers in terms of people who are going for care improved? Is the treatment and the lifespan improved? We are not seeing the conversation coming back to us to say to ourselves that yes, advocacy is working. This is why I cannot get excited about just being pink and just leave it at that. It has to be a broader conversation that is pulling persons together so that they are able to say, yes, I know my advocacy. If I walk all the 5K walks for every year that I'm being involved with it, and when you see me looking sideways, I'm also on other socials. We want to see the reduction of what we're doing in it. So breast cancer is the most common cancer in Jamaican women, and the diagnosis of breast cancer is in Jamaica is associated with some unique characteristic. Now I want to pause there, and I want to say I'm not a doctor. What I'm relaying to you is based on my own experience and also of the experience of stats and research. Now, they use the terminology unique characteristic, and they have a reason why. The very same thing happens with prostate cancer. There's a very unique characteristic and a high mortality rate as it relates to prostate cancer with male. We kind of understand where the male come from because we know Jamaican are very homophobic when it comes to people touching their you know what. And so that was an issue where persons were not getting the necessary tests within a particular period. They have somehow come up with different mechanisms, the PSA test, the blood work, other means of testing other than what Jamaicans really don't like. And so we've seen a little improvement in terms of numbers. But the unique characteristic now of the breast cancer is one, age of diagnosis. We're seeing women diagnosed in 30. At first, we used to say don't get a mammogram until over 40. That cannot be obtained anymore because if you're having a history and there are other issues, then you ought to be looking at this very early and checking yourself out very early. The median age of breast cancer diagnosis in Jamaica is 52 years of age. So overall, after the numbers have gone, they say by 52, that's what they're looking at, which is about 10 years younger than in the US. Now, why that is so? Could it be lifestyle? Could it be environment? Could it be stress factors? We don't know. There's not enough research that is happening to tell us what is driving these numbers. Stage of diagnosis is important. A lot of people are being diagnosed when they're well advanced. What is causing that? We know sometimes persons are feeling a lump at the early stage and instead they're going to watch it. Jamaicans have a thing, they are watching to see what's happened with them medically before they go to the doctor. They're watching and they're going to take something for it because they feel like this is what it is. Now, I don't have a problem with herbal medicine. Let me tell you, I adore it because herb is there for the healing of the nation. But I believe if you don't understand how to use the herbs and you don't understand the whole methodology of it and you don't know why you're using it, then by all means you need to go to the doctor, right? So the stage of the diagnosis is an issue because a lot of time they come in an advanced stage when there is nothing more that they can be done medically more than just keep and care and just watch what's happening. So that's also a unique characteristic. Now, breast cancer in Jamaica is often diagnosed at more advanced stage than in high income countries. Why is that? We went back again, affordability. Although we have a lot of system, we have Jamaica Cancer Society, we have all of that. Sometimes because of affordability, because of how people work life is situated, not all the time they can get all the time to go to do all these tests. The clinics are open Monday to Friday. They're not open on a Saturday and Sunday. You can't be leaving your job all the time to do all of this because again, the environment, offices also have to embrace this thing to have you go in a healthy way that it supports the entire ecosystem. Because if you continue to do that, you'll be out of a job. And that's another thing that will impact your treatments and way forward. So another thing that looks at it is the aggressive biology. There's something about Jamaican that has a very aggressive cancer outlook. And it is not known, it is tested, it is proven within the Caribbean American Cancer Society. They look at it, but of course, more data is needed, more reason, more discussion needs to happen. Breast cancer in Jamaica is associated with more aggressive biology, including rates of triple negative breast cancer. So this is one that is highlighted now. There is triple negative breast cancer. There is HER2 or ER positive or negative tumors. There are ER prevalence negative tumors, and there are Herceptin, all sorts of things that are coming. So again, you have to know what kind of biology, histology, all these things are doctor's term, yes? So breast cancer screening starts with a mammography, and that is underutilized in Jamaica. Now, let me tell you something that is a fact. Do you know that rural areas in Jamaica, some places do not have access to a mammogram? There used to be a mobile mammogram with the Jamaica Cancer Society. I'm not sure if it's back up, but for years it was out. People who live in, for example, Point Hill, or way into Maroon Town in Portland, or way up in some mountains in Jamaica, back, Orange Hill, Swift River, they don't have access to those medical things, and that is an issue as well. So when we talk about donation, when we talk about support, when we talk about advocacy, this is what I want to see, the numbers that are affecting and impacting those persons, so that I can now say Portland has had 22 cases of this, and over a 15-year span, they are now reduced to a 10% or a 5% because of the advocacy, because of we have put in 2 mammogram machines in the clinic. Because of this, we want to see conversation that makes sense. The Jamaica Cancer Society is a non-profit organization that offers breast cancer screening, including a mammography clinic in Kingston, and they had a mobile screening services. I believe it was out, but it could be up and running now. I will double check that for you. Regular breast cancer screening is recommended starting at 40. You can also do your self-exam. A lot of people, they don't know that the best place to do your self-exam, one, if you're a woman, have your husband feel your breasts. Yes, that is one. As simple as it looks. A lot of women will tell you that they were diagnosed because their husband felt a lump. So that's one. You can also do your self-exam, right? You're looking for dimpling. You're looking for scaling. You're looking for redness. You're looking for discoloration. You're feeling around. You have your hand raised and you check out. In the shower, you start massaging the area in circular motion to feel if there's any anomaly, right? If it looks like you find it looking, a little red and you say maybe it's something, do not take it for granted. Discoloration, redness, scaleness, dimpling. Dimpling means it has, like dimpling, it's sinking some areas. It's not looking full and it looks like it has a little dimple in it. That's what it says. It don't mean say you have cancer. That's not what it means. It just means that you need to go and ensure that you do the right checks. Now, there was 1,208 new cases of breast cancer in Jamaica in 2020. This is 5 years ago. A breast lump is the usual sign noticed when individual goes for investigation, but regular screening for breast cancer is recommended. Again, you hear me speak of the age 40 and before. In general, women can do it at home as well. I did a breast exam at home. That's how I found the lump, right? I did one and I always do one at home, and I had started my regular mammogram, right? I had a history. I started before 40, right? Breast cancer is the most common cancer in women worldwide and is a leading cause of cancer-related death in Caribbean women. In Jamaica, breast cancer increased by 63% between 2010 and 2020. Now let's that sink in a bit now. 63% is the stats between 2010 and 2020. So let me ask you a question. What has it increased to in 2025? We have not gotten the data to support what the discussion that we need to have. And this is why I'm saying to you all, for me, I'm so passionate about the discussion, because it's not about just being a pink celebration, a pink explosion, when there are real numbers and real factors. I want to know from 2010 to 2025, what has impacted that we could not have seen a reduction of that 63%? What did we could have done differently if we were having a dialogue, so that we know that, listen, this is where we need to target to reduce something. We need more awareness. Is this excitement and is this mechanism of just advertising, this pinkwashing? Caution. We need to be talking about what needs to happen. Caution. We need to be talking about what needs to happen. All right? And of course, I'm going to be having some conversation and question in the chat when I am finished. Now, we just enter into the room, the holies of holies. What is breast cancer? Breast cancer is a disease in which cells in the breast grow out of control. There are different types of cancer. The type of cancer will impact the type of treatment option. So all paint or all brush or all treatment are not the same. You will have persons who have breast cancer, their treatment is $1 million per infusion. And you're saying, oh my God, I know someone who was in my group. Her treatment was $600,000 every infusion, and she had to have 18 cycle of those infusion. That's numbers. That's numbers. That's real numbers. That's not pink. That's green, because she has to find $600,000 for 18 infusion, right? And that's something that happens within a 3 or 2 weeks or a 4 week span. Every 4 weeks or every 3 weeks, you have to find that 600,000. She had to beg. She had to borrow. Family had to support her. She had to sell car just to give herself a fighting chance. Depends on what is driving those cancers. Depends on what treatment options. Some will have easy treatment option and they'll tell you about KPH, chemo ward. And yes, you can go there depending on what type of cancer that you are having. If those are there to impact, you might go there and you hear that the medication is out. You might go there and you hear that there's no treatment. What are you going to do? You're going to sit and wait? You're going to have to go buy the treatments and come back to them. What is that? That's not pink. That's green. Now, here is my story, and this is why I'm so passionate about it. In July 2018, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. This came after I did my own self-examination one night. I felt a lump, and I know that lump should not be there. So anytime you feel something in your body that should not be there, do not wait about it. Do not think about it. Do not try to rationalize about it. Just get it checked. I immediately went to the doctor the next day. I never hesitate. And this happened in May 2018. I found the lump. And between May to August, I had the lump check. I had a bilateral mastectomy. I had tests. I had all sorts of things done between May to August. And I remember I went through the private system. Because when I went to the doctor, I remember they actually gave me August to get the sample tested if it was cancerous. And I remember my doctor, my private doctor, said to me, there's no way you can wait in August when you felt a lump in May. That for me was a reality moment. And I said, oh my goodness, what if I didn't have somebody who is talking sense to me? What if I didn't understand what was happening? What and who are talking to these people? Because if you feel a lump in May and you're doing nothing about it until August, September, October, obviously the lump is not stopped growing. It is still continuous. It's still moving. You're still happening. Something is still happening. And so in May, when I found it and everything happened so quickly, right? Everything in that life-changing process was dealt with because of information and the right circle, the right people, right? The prayers, of course, not leaving out that. Very important that everything came together as a combination of things. And I had a cheer and a choir ready to cheer me on to win. That was the story. No, that's not everybody's story. Unfortunately, I've had people who I had to run with. And they have heard the test after test. When they went there, oh, the machine is down. They are unable to do this because the machine is down. They can't do that because something is wrong with the machine. And they had to wait 3, 4, 5 months before something had happened. Now, the question is, and I penned a book about this, Broken Wings. The question is, when you hear that first news that you have cancer, yes, your world turned upside down. It's a moment that you just want to just run out and scream. There's nobody who will tell you that that is not their experience. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to discuss it. They don't want you even mention the C word to them. That's okay. But guess what we can't do as survivors? We cannot stop and do nothing. If you have a friend or a family or somebody who is experiencing, it don't matter what they're going through, one thing they cannot do is play ignorant to the fact that something is happening in their body and it requires attention. So from May 2018, I found a lump, and within May to August, it was dealt with, a bilateral mastectomy and all the other chemo and everything, and I finished long after with my cycles of chemotherapy and all the life-changing procedure that went after that, many other surgeries that went after that. Again, depending on what is occurring to you and what treatment plan your doctors outlined for you. Then came awareness. The reality of this, what is happening, the reality, it is not pink. And this is why, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very passionate about it, because I want you to understand that I've gone through this particular event, it is never about not just celebrating and wearing pink and I was excited. It is not about that. It's about fighting for your life. It's about providing cash. It's about doing a test every time you're doing a chemotherapy session. It's about if that treatment don't work, you're going to have to do another. And it's about all that comes with it that requires cash. Now, the emotional to decide what to do and when to do it, that's also a factor. Because some person said, hear what? I'm not doing chemotherapy. I hear chemotherapy kills. I'm not doing that. That's a decision, and that's a personal decision that you have to make, right? There comes a decision that you are saying, hear what? I am going to just leave it into God's hands. That's okay. That's okay if that's your decision. But whatever you decide, you have to know that it comes with a caveat. It comes with a responsibility. It comes with a repercussion. And when you have decided, you cannot undo this decision. Let me explain. There are people who decide that they don't want any doctor to do anything. And then when they're down into 3 or 4 or 5, 6 months down the journey, then they come back to the conventional process to have the doctor do something. Sometimes the cancer is way advanced. You would have caught it in stage 1. You're now at stage 3. So again, the emotional to decide is a very heavy weight. It's a very heavy one. It's not something that can be made just like that. So I want you to understand, if your family or your friends or your loved one is going through this, it's not a decision that they make readily. It's a decision that they had to weigh themselves. If you have gone through any chemo process, like myself, you will know that there are days when I could not eat. The food, everything tastes the same, and I just wanted to just curl up in bed and not do anything. But I remember that I still had to keep a job. I remember that I had children. I remember I had to make some decisions. So I had to do what I had to do, regardless of what my emotion was saying, regardless of what my body was also saying. And the final thing is the financial to pay for those decisions. So you can all opt for chemo. You can all opt for everything and surgery. But what about the persons who don't have a health plan? What about the person who they don't have family support? What about the person who cannot find the tests to do every time? What about the doctor visits? What about the discussions, right? Persons who have gone through this will tell you they've taken filgrastim, they'll take injection, they have to pull up their blood count cell before they do chemotherapy. If it's not up, then you are pushed back because you have to be up. Your cells have to be up because you're exposed. Those are the white blood cells, right? Those are exposed. You will get infection. There will be another issue. So again, the financial to pay for those decisions is not pink. It is green. Now, what is a mastectomy? Mastectomy is used to remove all breast tissue from a breast. It's often done to treat breast cancer. It can also prevent breast cancer in those with very high risk of developing. And you have heard about the Angelina Jolie situation where she went ahead and removed her breast even though she was not diagnosed at the time. Mastectomy to remove one breast is called unilateral mastectomy. Removing both breasts is called a bilateral mastectomy. That's a personal decision. That is a personal decision for you. It's not something that you make lightly. As I mentioned to persons, if you're in a relationship, it has to be something that you're going to be discussing with your partner. It's not because it's your body, it's your breast. There is a discussion that has to be had with people that you care about. Right? You have to be making those decisions. You have to live with your body when you're done. Is it that something you can live without the titties? Can you live flat chest? Those are things that you have to ask yourself. Are you able to, afford reconstruction after? Is that something that you... So it's a discussion that you must continually have to move forward. So what is the process? The process is self-check. Never leave out self-check. It's very important. Then you have a mammogram, which is an x-ray of the breast, and that will find anything cancerous. But if it's too small or anything doing the routine and they see something that cannot be, maybe a cloud, and they're not sure what it is, then they'll send you to do a breast ultrasound. Remember, I started my story by telling you there was an ultrasound machine in Kingston that was not working. I had to drive to Montego Bay to do this breast ultrasound. And I remember, God bless that I have a child who can drive. I remember I had to sit in the passenger seat and allow her to drive me up to get this breast ultrasound way in another part of the island. This is the Jamaica land we love. And I guess there are issues. So when I see pink rolling out, when I see companies are supporting stuff, when I see all these things are happening, I'm saying to myself, there is more work needs to be done, because there are a lot of things that are requiring to move that 63% way down. It is far too up. Is it moving? I don't know. Then you have a biopsy to remove sample for testing. Remember I told you the May to August. I had the test, I had the biopsy, I got back the result, I did the surgery, I did everything between May to August, because timing is of the essence. Lab test, and then the final thing is decision. None of this can be made, and if you're a person who is having a relationship with God, trust me, this will come very, very important, because there's none of this that you can walk through without a very alternate strength. And that's real. All right? That is it. That is the picture of my life beyond pink. This is the authority that I get to speak, that cancer is not pink. Cancer is about a life-changing process. It pulls you up. It allows you to rethink who you are. It pulls you apart. It puts you together, and your entire outlook never is the same. Those are the days I'm on my back. Those were the days I did the biopsy. Those were the days with the chemo. Those were the days. That's the first day I found I did mammogram, and I was still smiling. But beyond that smile was frightened. I was fearful. Don't let the smile fool you. And I remember I had a shirt, More Than Conqueror. Somebody printed some shirts and gave it to me. And, I just wore that shirt constantly. And that for me was a day. That December, when I finished chemo, I had a little note that said, this is my last chemo. And I pledged to myself, this is my last chemo. This is the last of cancer. I am not going to go down this road, but I am going to be an advocate. I'm going to support who I can. I'm going to ride out for those who need the mental and physical and spiritual support, because it is not a journey to be had alone. And so, hence, the reality for some. The reality is October is not just the pink month. It is Pinktober for some. It's breast cancer awareness for some. It's a milestone for those who did not make it. My mother didn't make it. She had breast cancer. My father didn't make it. He had prostate cancer. My brother did not make it. He had colon cancer. And here I am, a true survivor who made it out and had to just really be thankful about it. Every time I think about it, I get so emotional about it. But it is also a constant reminder that we are the 1 in 8 women who survived. We are maybe the 1 in 20 men who had it, and they are also surviving. How did we do it? We did it with grit. We did it with grace. We did it by not being, losing ourselves. We did it authentically. We walked the journey. We prepared for, and we cried. We were strong about it. We knew when we were weak about it. We had good support. We had friends. We had family. We had prayer groups. And that is what it's all about. The journey has caused some financial losses. I can tell you, the losses I have been through, I'll never regain it. I've lost some. But you know what? I'm still here. And money, and now I understand, money can't replace what I have gained. I am still living, I'm still here, and I'm willing and committed to working with others who have lost everything and wonder how they're coping. Self-esteem issues. Yes, that affected me too. All this scar all over and difficulty coping and working in some instances, lying down and just trying to get over chemo to get up to go to work. All of that happens, and it's not just me. It's not something that happens only to me. Therefore, as a society, it is a very hard task to manage and strike a real balance between what needs to happen and what really can happen, especially in the workplace. Now, for persons who are on Zoom, they'll see some links. I've spoken about this issue. I am passionate about it. I have a foundation called Broken Wings Foundation. I've written books about it. I have all my book proceeds are literally to the foundation. I don't take $1 from it. I support other women who are going through this issue. I've gone to mentoring forums, both here and internationally, just to talk about it. So again, what can you do? Get your self-exam. Get your mammograms early. Start a medical and financial planning goal. Start saving. I can tell you that. Start saving. Save for your retirement. Save for your entertainment trips. Save. Exercise, diet, and sleep. I must say I have some sleep issues sometimes, but sleep is very important. Get health insurance. Support and work with charities. That helps. Purchase my book, of course, on Amazon or get it from me. And guess what, guys? The most important thing, and I don't want you to forget this, live your best life now. That's it. What can you do? Live your best life now. Nothing else is promised. Nothing else is a guarantee. Nothing else is sure. Now, I continue to speak on this. I continue to talk about this. And I continue to just put that out there, that these are the supporting mechanism. And there is the book Broken Wings, so you'll see it on Amazon. You can support me there. You can call me inbox. I'm on YouTube. Reach out to me. I'm on Instagram. You can just get me. I'll come and deliver the books for you. Now is the time. If you want to know what you can do, don't get all excited about this pink. Just get some books, support it so we can support other people. That is what. And of course, my new book alert, motivational life nuggets, again with some thoughts for you to start journaling and start jotting down those experiences. I want to leave a quote with you. You will continue to suffer if you have an emotional reaction to everything. Breathe and allow things to pass. We don't like let go things, and we don't like things to pass. But you know what? When you've gone through the valley of the shadow of death, you'll realize that it's not about suffering. You need to let go and let God. Allow some things to pass. All right? Another quote says, happiness will not come from happiness, but only from pain. We know the value of standing in the shade only after roaming in the hot sun. So it means that, listen, if I was not going through that critical illness, I would know the value of just living my best self every day. I would know the value of just understanding that, listen, some things I can allow to pass. It's not important. In Spanish, they will say, no me importa. It's not important. Some things that you kill yourself over, you say, oh yes, I must have this, I must have that. No me importa. It's not important. Your life takes focus when you start going down this path. All right? And of course, contact us, Broken Wings Foundation, Pink Diamond Support Group. Connect your dots at live.com. I'm on Instagram, Foundation Broken Wings. I'm on Instagram as Marcia Skervin, YouTube, and all of those online support. We are here. Now, for the question and feedback. All right, I see one question in the chat. Let me just see. Okay. Any questions, any feedback?
Feedback is that was very insightful. This is the first time I'm listening to an in-depth explanation about breast cancer, because if you never experience something, sometimes, we take it for granted, right? So for me, I've not always done my breast checks. I hate doing mammograms. I really do hate it. But I have a very good advocate doctor who, encourages me each time she sees me to make sure you get your mammogram, regardless if there are no persons in your family that might have had it. You just never know. So this was a great presentation with great insights.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I see in the chat, somebody said, excellent. Mike says, excellent research, powerful, really informative, inspirational. And that's the aim of it. We don't want to fluff up anything. People are living real lives. People are living with real issues. People are just trying to survive, and people are just wanting the best out of it. My daughter was 3 years old when I was diagnosed. She's now 11. For me, that's a big celebration. I celebrate those days. Every year that she has, gotten older, I have celebrated. Because for me, I could not imagine anything outside of her being 5 years old. I could not. And for me, it's just a blessing. So I look at things totally different. What could I have done different? I'm happy that I saw the lump and I just moved at it. I'm happy that even though I was fearful, courage is not about the absence of fear. It's just about moving when you have to move. I'm happy that I got closer relationship with God because that was the journey that I was supposed to be on. Yeah, it knocked me down a couple times, boxed me about a couple times, yes. But you know what? I'm still standing, and I met some incredible people on the way. I've lost some people on the way, and it has just had me just appreciate life more, that there is more to life than what we imagine, right? And so I wanted to just impart this, and I'm happy that it resonated with persons, so that when you move about and you have the conversations with other people that you can tell them that, listen, it's not all pink. It's not just about pink. It's not about the excitement in October. It's not about that. It's about people who are truly trying to survive mentally, physically, and spiritually. And they just need all the support that they can get, and even just to wish them well and just allow them to be. Don't ask them a lot of questions. When you know what you're going to do about it, people just don't want to have that kind of interaction. Just pray for them, leave them alone, and just continue to support. And so we have to just have that conversation out. The persons, if you want the recording of this, I will have the recording available once this is done, so that you can have it to share if you have your groups or so that you want to share it with. Again, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I aim to stay under an hour, and I did. Okay, wonderful. I aim to stay under an hour, and I did. So that's wonderful. Let me look if there is any question here. On the, okay, there's no question here. I am saying that has to be very clear, so there's no question. I kind of feel good that there is no question, because it means that it was very clear. So that's good. All right, wonderful. Thank you so much for taking the time out to join me tonight. Every once in a year I do this online work, but every other work I do offline. Persons who know I do a lot of work behind the scenes, and I do a lot of support behind the scenes. I just take this moment so that people can be aware of the true advocacy and the meaning behind what's happening in this season. So guys, I want to thank you. Have a wonderful evening. Bless you. Continue just to be in your best self, and just continue to living your best self. Nothing else is important. God first and everything else after. All right. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Record.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you so much, my family online, for joining. Let me just find a way to end this live right there.